sorry, forgot. I've already forgotten one class today. Don't need to forget in this one. So my intent is to just spend a couple of minutes catching everybody up, making sure everybody knows what's due this week, where we're at in the class, expectations for part 2, where to turn in part 2, all of that good stuff. And then I'm just going to turn it over to you guys to ask questions. You can, be off video and muted and work on stuff, and I'll be here. That's fine. I'm here until 4:50. And so I want today to be a writing workshop. So if you just need some time to intentionally sit down and write, that's absolutely what today can be for you as well. All right. So really quickly, I'm just, let me share my screen with you and we'll talk through Blackboard really quick. So we are in week 10, as you guys have probably seen. And this week we don't have any new lecture material. So like last week, if you guys haven't got the point that I really want you to put a lot of effort into writing, you really haven't been paying attention the last couple of weeks. So we've had no new material. And I really tried to create space for you to put in some time into writing. And I know that this part 2 is probably the heaviest lift of the semester, because we aren't simply pulling together an outline. We are actually having to create paragraphs that make sense and are organized and convey our thoughts and our feelings and some required information. And so I know that this assignment in particular tends to be pretty stressful. In addition to that, it's also the middle of the semester. So everybody's in the middle of midterms. If you're in genetics, you are probably just ending transcription according to my sources in that molecular biology section, or translation, sorry. So that is the biggest, heaviest lift in that class as well. And I know that just stuff gets busy in the middle of the semester. So, all right. As far as this week, you guys saw in the email, you've seen in the briefing here in the week 10 module that no new material. We've got a variety of writing workshops offered for you this week. So including today's discussion sessions at 2, 3, or 4 p.m. You guys are not limited to just coming to your assigned discussion today. If you want to come back at 4, that's absolutely fine as well. We also have optional writing sessions this Wednesday, the 27th from 8 to 8:50, and then Friday, the 29th from 8 to 8:50 as well. So what would normally be like our synchronous lecture period if we were fully synchronous. So that's when those 2 are. I also gave you guys just a few tips to help you to just make sure that you get the best possible grade on this assignment. So I just want to go through those really quickly. So make sure to review the assignment requirements in the rubric. I also put in the assignment description and as part of the assignment link here as well. So you guys have it in multiple places. You've taken a quiz on this already. So you should have a really good idea of what this assignment needs to be. All right. I would really encourage you to make a checkoff list. So go through the rubric that is in the bigger assignment and make a checkoff list so that when you get done writing, you can go back through it and check off each section to make sure that you've done an accurate job of it. Please use the comments from your outline to draft the introduction section. Okay, so you guys have grades back for the outline. I finished those up. And if you've got major holes, I went in and put some comments in. Because there's 75 of you guys, no news is good news. All right, so if you don't see a comment or something addressing a certain issue of your outline, chances are you are on the right track. All right. So please please use the example papers that are in this writing resources module over here. So let me just make sure we're on the same page. So the writing resources module is there for you guys. There's several examples of research papers that have been submitted for different projects in different semesters, but for this class. So those are a really good opportunity to read through, to see how people phrase stuff, how they organize things, and those type of things. Make sure you're writing in the third person. Okay, so third person means that there is no I, we, our, etc. So anything that has to do with you directly, like I and me, that is classified as first person, just in case we need to go back to elementary school. I realize it's been a while. Okay. Second person are verbiage like we, are, things that include you. All right. So those two things, it's poor form to actually write in the third or in the first and second person in research. Does that mean that some people do it? Yeah, it does. Okay, so not everybody follows those rules, but I have higher expectations for you, and I know that you can achieve that. And so I'm going to encourage you guys with points and taking out points that to write in the third person. Similarly, we also need to be writing in past tense. All right. So it's going to be a little bit difficult. Okay, so please just be aware of this. So you guys are taking the materials and methods that were presented 2 weeks ago and putting that all into paragraph form. As you read back through those paragraphs, please make sure that they are in past tense. Okay, so and a really good example is in the last paragraph that's always about statistics. If you were writing in the present tense, you would say data are analyzed as a single factor ANOVA design. Okay, what we need to say is that data were analyzed as a single factor ANOVA design. Okay, and that can get a little bit convoluted because we haven't analyzed anything yet, but keep in mind we are drafting these different chunks of this paper for the final draft that is going to be in December. Okay, and so we need to start writing like that now. So please just remember to write in third person and past tense. Another suggestion that I see a lot come up quite a bit is we tend to write like we talk, and that is not okay for scientific writing. All right, so if you guys have been through the Ag Issues course, if you've written term papers before, you may have written verbiage that is very closely related to how you talk, okay? And what I need you to do is it's okay to start that, all right? But you need to go back and proofread it and then just start editing it and cutting out filler words. All right, so I am always the person that will try to take a 12-word sentence and get it down to 6, okay? Just as a point of reference. So just please start practicing that proofreading technique now. In the materials and methods section, please keep in mind that there should be no lists, no tables, no figures, no pictures, etc. Everything needs to be in paragraph form. So even though in the PowerPoint that I presented 2 weeks ago about the materials and methods, I was showing you things in bulleted form as well as pictures. That was for you guys to have some understanding of what was actually happening on the ground. The way we describe it is in a paper that would be going to a reviewer in a peer-reviewed publication is to describe it in the context of paragraphs. All right, so that's why on different slides you have things that would go into paragraph 1, things that would go into paragraph 2, etc. All right, and then one thing that tends not to happen very much in this online environment, just because we're so disconnected from one another, is proofreading by a peer. All right, so if you guys have the ability and a buddy in this class, try to finish early and send them a copy of your paper and ask them to please review it. This does a couple of things. It gets somebody that is unfamiliar with your writing style to put their eyes on your paper. They can give you feedback on, hey, this sounded rough. Hey, I didn't really understand this, etc. And if they reciprocate it, they may actually pick up detail that you didn't have, that you can go back in and put into your paper. All right. So at this point in time, guys, I do not have any time this week to do any proofreading for anybody. So typically I need those papers 7 days ahead of time. I think I put that in the syllabus. And if I didn't, I apologize, but I've got a grant due this week. And so I'm also doing a bunch of scientific writing as well. All right. So those were the big things. Keep in mind, part 2, this you're going to submit it to the week 10 folder to this submission link by the end of day on Friday, the 29th. So that was the really quick update that I wanted to share with you. And I'm happy to take any questions that you guys may have if you have, especially if they're clarifying questions. If not, I'll stop the recording and we can just hang out and you guys can work or ask questions as things come up. So what's your pleasure?
For
I have a
reference,
question. Oh,
Okay,
go ahead.
go ahead,
Sorry.
Stephanie.
Okay. For referencing the lectures, so I understand like within the actual paper, it would just be Diatley, 2021.
Yep.
But how would we actually cite that in the at the bottom of the page?
Oh, good question. So Purdue OWL has, they have information in there on how to cite a lecture or a presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you guys need that, and no, Eric, I'm not in my office today, just FYI, I am not on campus, sorry. I think it's purdueowl.edu. Try that one. If not, just search Purdue OWL. They have really great resources for MLA format and for APA format. And so just make sure that you're looking at APA. And over on the left-hand side of their menu is a whole list of ways to cite certain sources. Great question. Any others?
yeah, I had one regarding the introduction.
Great.
So how we did the literature review for part 1. So the literature review needs to be a part of the introduction, right?
Yes, good question. So the literature review is most of the introduction. Okay, so you guys basically outlined the entire introduction section in part 1. So the introduction section should have 5 paragraphs, right? Some of you have talked to me and we've talked about more paragraphs. That's fine too. But the introduction section should have 5 paragraphs. And each of your main headings is going to be a paragraph. So we have like the introduction paragraph with the hook sentence and the thesis statement, right? Then we have theme A, which is paragraph 2. Then we have theme B, which is paragraph 3. Then we have theme C, which is paragraph 4. And then we have kind of a conclusion paragraph to the introduction that summarizes all what you went over in theme A, B, and C, identifies the weakness or the lack of information that is in the literature that your study is going to suffice. And then it has the objectives of the study. So does that help?
Yeah, it does. Because yesterday I was trying to kind of format the introduction.
Mhm.
And then I was looking at both objective statements because there's the first one for the literature review and then the second one for the actual research experiment. So I was just kind of like asking where each objective should go.
Okay, so the objective for the literature review, we also call a thesis, right?
Okay.
And
yeah.
that thesis statement goes at the end of the first paragraph.
Okay.
The objective for the research project goes at the end of the 5th paragraph.
Okay.
So you're going to give us at the end of the introduction section, you're going to give us the objectives for the study. And then the next big section is materials and methods, where you explain how the study was set up.
Okay, that sounds good then. Thanks.
Great, you bet. Other questions?
I had a question.
Yeah, go for it, Nicole.
So it was about the citing for you, for the
Mhm.
materials and methods. For the in-text citations, it says, or you told us to cite, but where do we, like, because isn't all the information from you? Like, where exactly do we put the in-text citation if it's all from you? You know what I'm saying?
In the materials and methods section.
Yeah, yeah.
So at the end of each paragraph.
Oh, the end of each. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
You bet. Great questions, guys. Keep them coming.
At the top of the paper, like right underneath the title, when you have your name, are we
Yep.
just supposed to write our name, or are we supposed to do like by colon and then our name?
You can just put your name in. That's fine. Excellent. All right, guys. Good questions. I'm going to hang out. I might take my video off because I'm going to make bad faces and say things at my email, but I'm here. So just speak out, okay?